What up, what up, what up? Coach Mike coming at you. The message today is going to build on yesterday's message. Yesterday, I talked about when someone's in need, or even when someone has a want, even if it's just holding the door for somebody, say to yourself, this is the most meaningful thing I could probably be doing with my time. Right? Whether it's waking up a half hour early and giving somebody a ride to work, whether it's helping somebody move, whether it's somebody on the side of the street with, one of those signs, even if it's just at your work and your boss needs help with something, say to yourself, this is the most meaningful thing that I could be doing right now. Even if it's like a friend who needs to talk to you and it's normally your bedtime, but they need somebody to talk to. They need somebody to be empathetic. That is the most meaningful thing that you could be doing at that moment. Now, what I'm going to talk to you guys about is a quote that I heard that builds on top of this message. And it's not good news, but it's news that I think we all need to grasp onto and just accept. Acceptance is really powerful. And the quote is, the capacity for our own wholeheartedness and love expression for other people is limited by our own willingness to be brokenhearted. I'm going to say that again. Our capacity for wholeheartedness and love for other people is limited by our willingness to be brokenhearted. Okay? Man, just think about that for a second. I mean, there's so many people out in this world who just don't give because they haven't had a good experience giving. There's so many people out in this world who are scared or have a fear to be vulnerable just because they've had a bad experience before when they went out of their way and put themselves out there and say, hey, here I can give you this, and they didn't get a thank you. Or somebody didn't pat them on the back, or even if they went out, stepped out of their comfort zone, made a speech, and somebody said, well, that sucked, or they were critical, or said, hey, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, in more of like a mean, condescending way, like a hurtful way. That person might be scarred by that. They might hang on to that. And this is the biggest thing that is tragic in this world, okay? The unwillingness to have vulnerability. And what this leads to is us missing out on empathy, right? And what that leads to is not as many connections on this earth, okay? So I say this all the time, to people who are need relationship advice or whatever, and they're like, well, I just have trust issues, and I've just had my heart broken, and I'm like, look, I've had trust issues too. I've been brokenhearted too, but I just have this thing inside of me. I don't know if it's natural or if this has just been developed over time, but I always think to myself, no matter what, in this relationship, I am going to love as passionately and as freshly as I've ever loved, as if my heart has never been broken, because I am not going to make somebody else pay for somebody's past mistakes that they did onto me, right? I'm just not going to do that. So the same thing applies to when you're giving, when you're putting yourself out there, even for you guys who are coaches out there. I think a lot of people don't have a longevity or a long experience when they're coaching because of the fact that they get let down over and over. They're investing in people, and then these people just fall off the face of the earth, and they're like, oh, that's all my time wasted. But if you stop there, the connections stop there. Your ability to help people stops there. Your ability to love and be wholehearted with other people stops there. So don't. You gotta forgive, you guys. I think this comes with practice. Again, some of you might have this more natural capability, but if somebody needs your help, if somebody's in pain, don't just sit there and be like, empathy versus sympathy, right? I've heard this analogy where somebody's in this deep dark hole and they're like, this sucks. It's so dark down here. I can't see the light ahead. And the person with empathy, they get down into the hole and they're like, I've been there. It's like just the most important words when it comes to empathy. Just envision this, like somebody sitting next to you, you putting your hand on their hand and saying, me too. Those are the two most important words of empathy. Me too. Right? Feel that pain with them. Sympathy would be if somebody's in that dark hole, like down here, and they're like, oh, this sucks down here. I'm my pain. It's overwhelming and I don't know if I can make it. And then you're up there looking down at them like, that sucks. You want a sandwich or something? Yeah, it's just, how does that feel, right? That doesn't feel good if you're the person hurting. Okay? But it's okay. There's a time to cry. There's a time to feel pain. There's a time to put your needs aside and be there with somebody who needs you, because that's the most meaningful thing you could be doing in that moment. And then on top of that, when it comes to loving, when it comes to friendships and being let down, you guys have got to be willing to be brokenhearted over and over and over again. I can't tell you how many times I've had my heart broken, but I'm still standing. And I will be relentless no matter what. I say this all the time. When people are talking about relationships, I'm like, no matter how many times I'm let down, I am never going to give up on that fairy tale. I am never going to give up on that belief of that love and that passion that just can withstand anything. I'm never going to give up on that fairy tale. Never. And I'm never going to give up on the fact that there's power in helping people, even if they're not grateful for it. If it's not benefiting them in a way where they're grateful enough, just let it benefit you. Just sow those seeds in faith that just bringing glory to God. Whatever you got to do to think in your mind that, look, no matter if this person didn't thank me, I am still going to give passionately. I am still going to love passionately. No matter what happens. Again, I'm going to say the quote. Your capacity for wholeheartedness and expression of love towards somebody else is limited by your willingness to be brokenhearted. And God can restore anything, guys. So don't give up. Be willing to be vulnerable. There's so much power in that. Okay? Continue connecting with people. If somebody lets you down, love as passionately as you've ever loved, as if you've never been let down. Always. That's my message for today, guys. I love you. Peace.